Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my Tao Ren, Shaman King, Cardfight Vanguard deck profile. This is the last deck from the Team the Ren lineup that I will be doing, with already covering Horo Horo and Joko. I figured Tao Ren as the leader was the most fitting one to finish for last. This deck focuses on using Tao Ren as a real pressure unit, just being able to use Tao Ren along with his different, I would say, cross-ride grade 3 that they gave us, combining both sets 1 and 2 for Shaman King, along with Basson and many of the other cards from Team the Ren to provide backup for this grade 3 unit. Definitely, like I said, is a pressure unit, hitting very hard against your opponent, as Ren does in the series with his spear. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the ride deck for the grade 0. Our starter is Tao Ren, the standard when rode upon. If you went second, draw a card. Our grade 1 is hatred towards the Tao family, Tao Ren. When this unit is placed on Vanguard by riding from Tao Ren, search your deck for up to 1 warrior who serves the Tao family, Basson, and call it to your back row center rear guard and shuffle your deck. So the unit in hand is the grade 1 Basson, being able to then provide a boost and oversoul with Tao Ren. And our grade 2 is the destined fight Tao Ren. When this unit attacks, boosted by a rear guard with Basson and its card name, draw a card. So just draw power along with the consistency of always being able to be boosted by that grade 1, since you search it with your grade 1 of the ride deck. And our grade 3 is Unwavering Heart Tao Ren, which along with this copy in the ride deck, I wasn't sure with the additional copies of which ones I wanted to run in the deck additionally. So I decided to go for more of a 3 and 3 copy count. So running 3 additional copies of Unwavering Heart Tao Ren with this unit on Oversoul on Vanguard once per turn, counter plus 1, put a rear guard with Basson and its card name into your soul, retire all of your opponent's front row rear guards, and this unit gets plus 10,000 to end of turn. If you retired 1 or less units, your opponent chooses a card from their hand and discards it. So this is the pressure that I spoke of with Tao Ren, being able just to take away resource after resource. If your opponent doesn't call them any rear guards, you're still making use of the Oversoul by being able to take away a card from their hand. And on Vanguard, when this unit attack hits, search your deck for up to 1 grade 3 grade card with Tao Ren and its card name, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. So you can either go for the grade 3 option that we have here, or our next go to grade 3 for the search, which is Super Bushin Tao Ren. It cannot be ridden from a grade 3. It must be ridden from a grade 3 Tao Ren and its card name. So you can't just have this card as the additional option for the initial ride. You have to be on the initial grade 3 Tao Ren and then go into this unit. And when this unit is placed on Vanguard, search your deck for up to 1 grade 3 or greater card with Tao Ren and its card name, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. So giving you more and more options for the Persona ride as well with these plays. And on the Vanguard circle, Oversoul, put a rear guard with Basson and its card name into your soul. Choose 3 of your opponent's rear guards, retire them, and this unit gets plus 10,000 until end of turn for every 5 cards in your drop. So the more you have set up in your drop zone, the stronger this card will be, making it a real late game card. And why you may just want to hold off on riding into this card is quickly because you can go with this Tao Ren, taking away your opponent's resources, and then using this Tao Ren as the one to put the finishing pressure against them. And that's it for the grade 3s. Moving on now to the grade 2s. I run 3 copies of Kind Man Wooden Sword Ryu. Once again, as long as you don't have Wooden Sword Ryu as your Vanguard, this is a great plus 10 shield defensive unit to use. So I like 3 copies of this card, being a deck that also focuses on Horo Horo and Joko for backup. I run 3 copies of Wind of Laughter that will save the world, Joko, for the search power of a unit with Tao Ren or Horo Horo. It's really useful for that, and also if you don't even get the unit, you at least can countercharge. And also 2 copies of Law of the Jungle, Horo Horo. This is another defensive card along with Ryu, holding up the same play style when I was running the Joko deck, as running Horo Horo and Ryu as backup defense, but also being able to provide a plus 5k shield for the power of the rearguard boost when it attacks your opponent's Vanguard, giving it plus 5,000 power. I mean, I said plus 5,000 shield, but it is plus 5,000 power when attacking if you have a Vanguard with Tao Ren or Joko. And also for grade 2s, I was mixing back and forth between how many copies of the Holy Girl Iron Maiden Jean I wanted to run, and also towards the Eternal World Tao Ren. With Tao Ren, when this unit attacks, well, not boosted, counter plus 1, and this unit gets plus 10,000 power till end of battle. And when this unit attack hits a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, you discard a card from your hand, and your near opponent chooses a card from their hands and discards it. So you can either run 3 copies of this card or even up your count of Iron Maiden Jean, having enough soul to use this for the counter charge as well. For the soul blasting with all the cards you can build up with Oversoul. It's really player preference what you want to run for the ratio for these cards, but I'm trying out the 2-in-1 copy. But like I said, you could try 3 or, no copies of Tao Ren, but the discard definitely does play for what the playstyle of the deck is meant to do, and just to dwindle away your opponent's resources. Moving on now to the grade 1s, I run 2 copies of Warrior Who Serves the Tao family, Basan. I run 2 copies of this. One, it's searchable off of the grade 1 search, and you run plenty of trigger units with Basan and its card name to also Oversoul with. This one from the drop, when your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Tao Ren and its card name is placed, if you do not have a unit with Basan and its card name, you may call it to rear guard, meaning you can always at least keep the consistency going with this card, and why you only need 2 copies of it, because you normally do have a grade 3 or greater card name placed with Tao Ren, having all of the grade 3 options available to you here, so you can always have this card called out to the field as long as you find other ways to Soul Blast it, which is another reason why I do like the Iron Maiden Jean as a Soul Blast option to at least give you countercharge power and putting the Basan in the drop zone for you to recycle. And I also run 3 copies of Spirit of the Mightiest Steed in History. This was Basan's Steed. When this unit boosts a unit with Tao Ren or Basan and its card name, if your opponent has no rear guards in their front row, that boosted unit gets plus 10,000 till end of battle. So the retire power will come in the form of your Tao Ren being able to do this, and then provide the additional boost with your Steed being able to have that power boost for either your Basan or Tao Ren. And for the grade 1s, running the 4 Sentinels, once again, the Yo one may be more fitting if you want to run 4 and 4, or you can even go for the one from the trial deck. I know these are kind of difficult to come by, being the more effective Sentinel to use against your opponent, but still, this spot will just be for the Sentinel choice, and the ones where you don't have to pay the discard costs are always useful in any D-format deck. With the orders that we're running in the deck, I run 2 true capabilities. Play this if you have a Tao Ren in its card name. Choose a card with Basan and its card name from your soul. Call it to rear. It gets plus 10,000 and additional critical until end of turn. If you have a Vanguard with Tao Ren in its card name, Oversoul this turn. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. So Basan normally has 0 critical since it is a spirit. So at least being able to get the critical +1 means it can hit for damage with this order. And also the plus 10,000 power puts it at 18,000 power. If you Persona Road this turn, you also have the 28k power that this card can provide. And I also run 2 Team the Ren. You can max out your copies of true capabilities if you want. I just like running 2 copies of this card as well to provide more countercharge power while also having Horo Horo and Joko set up on the field. With our trigger units being 4 copies of Unyielding Battle Basan, so you have more of the options for Oversoul in the deck, and 3 copies of Sealed Ultra Senji Ryokets for the build soul power once again, and plus 2,000 to another unit. I also run 4 copies of the Deeply Moved Basan Draw Trigger for another target for the Oversoul usage. Same with the Heal, which is surviving a close call Basan. And lastly, our Overtrigger, which is the close pair under the Moonlight Knight, having the damage and retire options when setting it as a order for the turn if it's in your hand, but still being able to deal 1 damage to your opponent is also immensely scary. And that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy with that. I finished Team Tao the Ren. I will be focusing on Funbari Hot Springs as well in some of the upcoming deck profiles, along with a couple other decks that I may have missed for deck profiles. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Qualia out.